Hey everybody, what's up? Don Carr here with Matt Larrivée, and we're looking at the Larrivée L-09.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too, man. Thanks for being here. This is a first for me. This is the first time I've ever done a product video on something that I own. This is my guitar.
I was going to say that guitar looks a little old.
Yeah. Like if you buy one, you're not going to get this.
No.
Because you don't want all
Little
the
dings and
marks
dents of
and
life.
dings and, cracks and whatever else. But man, this guitar has served me so well. I mean, seriously, it really has. I got this in 2001.
Yeah.
It was right when you guys had just opened the California factory.
Yeah.
And man, just love this guitar. It just traveled all over the country, all over the world with me.
So it's done exactly what we set out to do, which is to make a guitar that'll last over a century.
Mm-hmm.
This guitar's seen, how many miles do you think this guitar's seen?
Oh, 100 bazillion, man. It's hard
Yeah.
to say. I mean, seriously, 200 dates a year. Got it in 2001, and that was until I came here to Sweetwater, where that was 2014. So there you go. 13 years of back and forth across the country.
Well, thank you for playing it all these years.
Man.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I
That
love
makes
it. I love it.
Brings a nice little feeling to my heart there.
Man, every night on stage and tons of recordings. I mean, it just, the reason I wanted the L specifically was because it's a little more comfortable, but I didn't feel like I was losing anything sonically, you know what I mean? Versus a Dreadnought, it's like, okay, well, you're going to lose all this low end or you're going to lose this clay. No, you don't lose anything.
Well, what's neat about this guitar is the body shape. There's the L body shape, which this guitar is really reminiscent of a classical guitar body shape. My father is a classical guitar builder by trade. He was trained by the very famous builder Edgar Munch, and dating back further, passed through the Ramirez family all the way back. Almost 200 years to Francisco Gomez, the founder, one of the founders of the Madrid School of Guitar. So the body is really an enlarged classical guitar style, and that makes it by nature very balanced. Gives it a really even tone. Whereas a Dreadnought might be really boomy or an OM might be more trebly. This is really even. Right, it really suits somebody like you very well.
Well, and that was the thing, because it's like, okay, sure, I'm going to be strumming, and I need a big full sound when I'm strumming, but I'm also going to be finger picking, and I'm also going to be playing some lead lines. I want it to stand solo, but I also want it to fit in a track, in a crowded track if it needs to, without being too.
The L will do that all.
Yeah.
The L body is probably our most versatile guitar that we make, and whether it's an L3, an L40, or an L9 or an L10. They all perform very similarly in that versatility range, right? You can really do anything with this guitar.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, and I have, and will continue to. That's the thing, is it's like, this is not like some museum piece. I'm still using this thing all the time. I just took it out on a date a couple weeks ago, and I'm getting ready to take it out again.
It's meant for that. It's a lot of people think when you get up into really high-end guitars, they're pretty and they should be hung on a wall and looked at. All the guitars we make, this included, and our higher end guitars and our lower end guitars, are meant for performing musicians. They're meant to go out and be played, whether fine or aggressively, and hold up to it.
Yeah.
Right? And you're living proof of that. This is held up for 25 years with or 20 years with no ill effects. Right?
Oh yeah, and I mean, man, talk about conditions. So outside, hot, cold, wet, dry. I mean, it could be any of those things, right? And it could be changing, because like one day we're in Arkansas, and then the next day we're in New Mexico, right? So all of a sudden we've gone from super humidity to like super arid and super dry. And flights, the same thing. I mean, it's the pressure up and down, and just taking a beating, and pretty much the whole time it lived in an equipment truck.
Yeah, hot one day, cold at night.
Yeah, cold, and especially on the Christmas tour, we're traveling up north and it's really cold outside. And
so the reason this is held up is really the method that my father taught me, and that is that during construction of the guitar, humidity control is the most important factor. And so when we build the guitar, we build it under very tight humidity rooms. We have 2 climate-controlled rooms that are held at 42% humidity at 72 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's perfect guitar-making conditions. And, we have rules in the shop that say, when we bring wood in, it needs to be in there for a certain period of time before it can advance forward. If it isn't or if it's worked on early, unfortunately, the wood has to be trashed.
Yeah.
It has to be for a certain period of time. The result of that is a guitar that holds up to the rigors of a performing musician.
Right, right. Well, and the other thing that's interesting too is that a guitar like this does really age well.
Yep.
It doesn't just hold up. I mean, it ages well.
Yep.
Like this has sort of, I use the word mellowed, but I don't really know exactly if that's the right word.
I like to think it, as a guitar develops, people talk about that all the time, but what I hear in it audibly is I hear a woodiness develop. When you get a guitar new, it's got this beautiful, crisp tone. But as, like you said, it mellows and you start to hear the wood, right? As the top ages and the sap crystallizes and the finishes shrink a little bit, you start to hear the nuances of the wood.
Yeah, and
right?
it sort of rounds the top end, and it kind of rounds
Absolutely.
it's like a soft focus almost, audibly, but it doesn't lose anything.
No, not at all.
At this, by the same token, it's not like it's like all of a sudden it's not crisp anymore. It's still very crisp. It's still an amazing sounding guitar.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, thank you.
I'm blushing.
Thank you. No, you did amazing work, man. Here it is. We're looking at it, right?
Yeah.
You were saying earlier that everything is pretty much the same on the L9 as it was even 20 years ago.
Part of our who we are is we don't like to change the guitar. We don't change things just we need a new model year. What are we going to change, right?
Yeah.
So really, we only change something when we feel it's better.
Right.
And one thing I often talk about is that the guitar we build today is better than the guitar of yesterday. We advance forward. So in this case, the guitar is fundamentally the same. The bracing today is identical. The rosette is identical. The bridge is identical. Really, the only thing different in this case is today we have maple binding on the fingerboard instead of ivoroid. But even the pickup is the same. Here you have the Anthem pickup by LR Baggs, and today you would get an Anthem pickup by LR Baggs on this guitar. So it very, very little has changed over the years, and that's on purpose.
Yeah, well, you get it right, you dial it in, there
Exactly.
you go, man. You don't need to change. Well, all I can say is thank you.
You're most
Seriously, thank you. This has served me well and will continue to. Thanks so much, man.
No problem. Thank you for having me and telling me about your story with this guitar.
Man, thanks for filling me in on the fine details.
Yeah.
Right? The stuff that I didn't even know about it, which is great, man. Great
Wonderful.
to know. Great to know. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for checking out the Larrivée L9 with us. And if you have any questions about this or any other Larrivée product, make sure to contact your Sweetwater sales engineer or check us out at sweetwater.com.